Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. I'm going to start this video off with an article from the other day. CNBC made a killing with crypto in 2021, how to calculate your tax bill. And they've got a whole bunch of information about calculating your taxes. Well, if you don't feel like worrying with that, you ought to go to my sponsor, iTrustCapital.com, open a crypto IRA. These guys, if you look up here, it's the world's largest crypto IRA platform with over $3.5 billion in transactions. If you want to find the best way to invest in crypto, my favorite way is I have 2 IRAs with iTrustCapital, and this is the place. And recently they set up ACH funding of your accounts. So go check it out, iTrustCapital.com. All right, this I thought was interesting. I always talk about how I like to look at some of these guys that do charts and all the different charting of cryptocurrency and all. I don't pay a lot of attention to it, and it's certainly not what I know. But I've always I hear all the different terminology they use, like Fibonacci, and all these different things. But this is the first time I've seen this one. XRP develops a rare, bullish Japanese candlestick pattern that could return Ripple to $1. That is all I wanted to show you from this article, because I just thought it was funny. I've heard a lot of the terminology, and I was like, a rare, bullish Japanese candlestick pattern. Well, maybe that will take us to $1. I hope that this rare pattern is correct, but I thought that was kind of funny. All right. Paul Tudor Jones was on CNBC talking crypto. Listen.
Talked about crypto. You caught it around 10,000. It's now Bitcoin. That is at something like 40,000. What do you do?
Well, I think a lot of it, again, you have to watch what the central bank does. Clearly, all the inflation trades of the pandemic era are going to be challenged right now. If you just think about where we were again the last time the unemployment rate was here, the PE in the NASDAQ was around 26 or 27. It's 38 today. So assuming, fast forward, and we're back at 2% on Fed funds and 2.5 or 3 on 10-year rates, what's the multiple on the NASDAQ going to be? Is it going to still be 38 on a trailing basis, or is it going to be back at 26 or 27? And if so, obviously that has huge consequences.
What do you think? What do you think it's going to be?
I don't know what it's going to be. I know that I think it's going to be tough sledding for the inflation trades of the pandemic going forward. So the things that performed the best since March of 2020 are going to probably perform the worst as we go through this tightening cycle. But on a relative basis, I don't know whether that means they go down or up. I think they're clearly going to be challenged, right? If you could just fast forward 2 years and we're at 2% on rates, again, you have to think about what are the price of assets that today are dealing with, zero free money while they're still adding to balance sheet. I mean, it's going to be a different story 1824.
Yes, the inflation thing is going to make a different story. Now, John Deaton had retweeted this, and I thought this was a great tweet. We now have 3 Fed board members that have resigned due to egregiousness of their insider trading during the COVID market crash. But they won't let you participate in airdrops worth thousands of dollars because you need to be protected. Exactly right. Folks, don't forget the word accredited investor, because I personally believe a lot of this crypto stuff, that I believe part of what Gary Gensler is trying to do is make it, I think he's protecting the rich guys. And I think that he wants only accredited investors to be able to touch this stuff. That's part of what I think he's trying to do. There you go, looking out for the little guy, Gary, right? Stefan Huber says, call me names, but you have to freaking see this. Now, This goes in the All the World's a Stage file. I want to show you this. Robert Jackson, he's an expert witness for Tetragon in the lawsuit against Ripple. Ripple won also because of his testimony. And these are all people that are attending this thing, and they're all either SEC people or ex-SEC people. Stephanie Avakian, former chief of the SEC Enforcement Division, filed the lawsuit against Ripple. Hinman, former head of Division Corporate Finance, was interrogated by Ripple. Troy Paredes, former SEC commissioner since August 2020, advisor to Ripple. Mary Jo White, former SEC chairman, represents Ripple in the SEC lawsuit. And then this is the clip of Robert Jackson talking about of Robert Jackson helping Ripple win the case, more or less. And then he's got, and then that's the Troy Paredes guy. Anyway, there is, look, folks, I've said it from the beginning. There is an All the World's a Stage file. This thing is one of two things. Either we have it's a literal war between the good guys and the bad guys, whoever they may be, and they went after Ripple to slow it down or stop it, or All the World's a Stage and everything you're watching is a movie. I don't know if we'll ever find out which, but it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Now, this goes in the All the World's a Stage file, too. This is from Ant1. Listen to this. Let's ponder this fact for a moment. XRP was the first cryptocurrency ever in history to be recognized as such by the U.S. Treasury / FinCEN. Remember the FinCEN agreement? Katie Hawn was the assistant U.S. attorney. It says it wasn't Bitcoin and it wasn't Ethereum. This lawsuit is an audit of Ripple for the role it will play in the future on the world stage. Then he replies to someone else in here and says the lawsuit is just a smokescreen. Everything was planned. Sit back and enjoy the show. That is definitely in the All the World's a Stage file, folks. Now, this is not in the All the World's a Stage file. This is, there is a third option here. All the world could be a stage, and at the same time, there are some bad actors that were trying to throw a stick in the spokes, as we used to do when we rode bikes as kids. That's possible. Maybe that's why Gary Gensler was sent. Well, remember the interview yesterday on CNBC with Gary Gensler? Well, I decided it would be easy and necessary to expose Gary Gensler for when he's not telling the truth, which is in that video. Watch.
Can you explain your view of whether Ethereum is a security or not? I think you've actually suggested it isn't, but then why you believe that Ripple is a security. And I know there's an ongoing lawsuit related to Ripple, but could you speak to the Ethereum issue?
Andrew, just to have a little fun with you, refer back to my earlier question. I'm not going to speak to any one matter. And so your listeners understand it. I'm the chair of a 5-member commission that's also a civil law enforcement agency. And so we don't get involved in these types of public forums talking about any one project.
It means that neither Bitcoin nor Ether would be considered securities and thus not under the purview of the SEC. Can you very briefly explain what your reasoning is?
Sure, Bob. These are complex facts and circumstances tests, but when we look at Bitcoin or if we look at Ether and the highly decentralized nature of the networks, we don't see a third-party promoter where applying the disclosure regime would make a lot of sense. So we're comfortable in some sort of viewing these as items that don't have to be regulated as securities.
So we don't get involved in these types of public forums talking about any one project, one possible circumstance, and give legal advice over the airways that way.
These are replacements for sovereign currencies. Replace the dollar, the yen, the euro with Bitcoin. That type of currency is not a security.
So, Gary Gensler wants you to believe, and he's willing to say it on CNBC, that the SEC just can't and does not talk about any specific project or specific whatever. He's lying, period. I mean, he's lying. And he knows he can. That what he really means is that he doesn't want to because he's backed into a corner. But if he wants to publicly lie on television like that, then we're going to put together their own words and show you that he's lying, which he did. Now, Gary Gensler's there for a reason. There are people that are in Congress that stand right behind Gary Gensler, and our mission in life now is going to be to get rid of them. And I don't care if the XRP lawsuit's over at this point. These people need to go. Anybody that stands behind people that will stand there on national television and try to pretend like they're there to protect us and lie to your face that he needs to go, and anybody that props him up and put him there needs to go. First in line is Elizabeth Warren. Brad Sherman would be probably the second in line, but I don't care what party they're in. I think this guy's a Republican. I think he's one of the worst up there, this Mitch McConnell. But all these people have proven to be anti-crypto and need to go. I don't care what party they're in. Now, ProCoinNews.com has the ultimate tool. Watch what happens if you click this button right here. It says take action. Tap the button and tag your representatives in the tweet. When you click that button, it generates automatically this tweet. Then you can add your Congress people in it and all of that. You can retweet it. So I did this myself, and so we've had a bunch of retweets. Now, I need to remind you, hunting season is now over. This past weekend, I went and camped out at the Hunting and Fishing Club, and I said, hunting season's over. Luckily, ProCoinNews.com is the official sponsor of the Digital Asset Investor Hunting and Fishing Club. So it's time to get that boat ready, and I copied ProCoin News in on that. Chinu Patel sent me this. Ron Hammond has a good thread here. He says, this week in Congress and crypto, besides legislation, one of the tools members of Congress use to move policy is letters to regulators. These letters are important for the crypto industry given the lack of regulatory clarity, but there are still several still waiting a response. And he's literally taking a shot at the SEC here, more or less. For crypto, these letter responses serve as important guidelines as they provide the bounds for how companies can comply with laws or guidance. Regulatory staff, therefore, need to perform due diligence to ensure content is legally sound, which takes time and resources. These letters can be impactful as speeches, enforcement actions. One example is former SEC Chair Jay Clayton responding to Ted Budd. For Gensler's tenure, there have been a couple of crypto letters that have received responses. There are still several letters awaiting responses, and some are even bipartisan political pressure and looming SEC oversight. So he's just pointing out that a lot of these Congress people are writing letters to Gary Gensler. Some have not been responded to. Tom Emmer said he has not been responded to. Now, how can we help? Well, on John Deaton's website, which is crypto-law.us, you can click on the Connect to Congress. You can send your Congress people a note so that you're letting Congress know that you're angry about this whole SEC mess with Gary Gensler, and then those Congress people in turn will send letters to Gary Gensler, hopefully. Then we've got TAIG, who has put together a list of blockchain caucus members, Twitter handles. He spent a lot of time on this. He said, take these and all of these things that we're doing out here, we can copy all of these people on them and let them hear us roar, folks. There are thousands of us, folks, thousands of us. Let them know that you're angry. Then Nick Bogelis from Ripple, he says, I know how long people have waited for this, so I'm excited to let everyone know that the XLS20-based NFT DevNet is now available for anyone who wants to begin testing the proposed native NFT extensions to the XRPL. And when I scroll down here, it says XRP Crypto Wolf weighs in. XRP Ledger is getting closer and closer to launching NFTs. I'll add to that, folks. XRP Ledger is getting closer and closer to launching NFTs on the XRP Ledger, on a ledger that actually works, versus Ethereum proof of work that does not work. That's the part about the NFTs in this entire discussion in the media and all these people talking about NFTs. The dirty little secret is that not only does proof of work not work, but more specifically, Ethereum proof of work, all what all these NFTs have been built on so far, does not work and has gas fees that are embarrassing. Ethereum proof of work is embarrassing. All right. The official cool guy of the Digital Asset Investor channel, Mr. Intuitive, sent me this. Tom Emmer tweeted this out this morning. This is huge right here, folks. New digital currency legislation coming soon. And then there was this from Bank XRP. UK lawmakers form crypto and digital assets group to ensure regulation supports innovation. You can feel it, folks. These clouds are about to lift. Somehow, there's enough political pressure on these people in Congress coming from all angles, and it affects both sides. And I believe these anti-crypto people are starting to realize if something doesn't change, they're not going to be in Congress pretty soon, and we're going to see to it. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and tell your friends and family to vote them out. If they're anywhere close to Gary Gensler and supporting what he's trying to do, we're going to vote them out. I don't care what party they're in.